Peace, family. It's Neptune, aka Supreme I.
Peace family, it's Aquila, aka Empress Awakening, the hearts, minds, and the spirits of all those that I may encounter. That is my life.
Foods. And are cooked foods healthy for us, or are they detrimental for us? So this should be pretty interesting. Nothing too big, but it's pretty loaded in the time amount that we have here. So just to kind of get into it, I've always found it strange. Well, after coming into different types of diets, like fruitarianism and the 80-10-10 diet, Douglas Graham, and also like the mucusless diet healing system, I found it kind of peculiar that our species cooks food, after long contemplation and things of that nature. So I kind of just wanted to explore that in this video. Me and Queen wanted to explore that in this video and kind of just give you guys what we have received so far and what we've learned along the way. So as far as cooked foods being healthy or a degenerate food source for you, um, I'm of the persuasion that when you take it away from its natural state, and because we're natural beings, our bodies are engineered to consume food in a raw state. Now, with that said, there's no species on the earth other than humans, who cook their food. We're the only ones that get our food and say, it's not good enough. Let me prepare it. Let me process it even more as if it's already good in its whole state. Um, so, like I said, I'm of the persuasion that cooked foods is not healthy for us, especially in the long run. And what I mean by that is if you're transitioning into a plant-based diet, then obviously cooked foods would be good for you. But I would like to think in my own mind that the natural progression would look like going from the typical standard American diet to, um, a whole foods diet, veganism, and then moving slowly to high raw and to raw and basically to fruitarianism. So that to me is the natural progression. So some of the science behind even cooked foods not being healthy for you is that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, baby.
No,
Okay.
no.
So the science behind it is that cooked foods are not healthy for you in the long run because what happens is that there was a study done about 100 years ago or so, and also another study done by a doctor named Dr. Paul Kuchikoff. And what he discovered was that when you eat, he did an experiment. Um, he gave participants a raw food, live food diet, and he gave participants a cooked food diet. And he basically examined the function of the body's immune system and things that happen when they consume the raw food versus the cooked food. So when they consumed the cooked food, they realized that a process called digestive leukocytosis occurred. Now, digestive leukocytosis is like what it sounds. Your body releases leukocytes. The immune system is actually activated because you're eating something that the body recognizes as a threat or something that can injure the body or something that's foreign to the body. So it's not necessarily supposed to be in your genetic makeup. So this is why the body starts to produce leukocytes to take care of all of those food products that we cook, because basically the body is saying that this is not natural. This is not my natural diet. So obviously, when they came to eat the raw foods diet, there was no digestive leukocytosis at all, which basically proved that cooking your food takes it a step away from its natural state, and we need to eat naturally as much as possible. Now, the best food for man and woman is fruit, because we are biologically fruit eaters. We're biologically frugivores. We're not predominantly herbivores. We're not omnivores. We're definitely not carnivores. We are genetically designed to eat fruit. And this is not an arbitrary decision. Like a lot of people make diet about choice, because we have choices, different aspects and different diets that we go into. But we have a species specific diet, and that diet is fruit. All of our anatomical features suggest that we eat our yeah, our whole makeup and our evolution, we've evolved with literally with trees, with fruit trees, to be able to grab fruit, identify a nice flashy color in the rainforest or the jungle as a fruit and eat that fruit. So we are primary seed disseminators, basically frugivores, for the plant kingdom. So yeah, I'm gonna let Boo chime in, but that was a little bit of where we were at with it in terms of cooked food.
I think the most prominent things that we can see about how our biology is made up is basically just standing outside in nature and seeing what you gravitate naturally towards. If any of us go to a farm and there are cows and chickens and pigs and horses and sheep and baskets of oranges and apples, tomatoes, um, watermelon, and things like that. When we start to feel hungry, in that moment that we feel hunger, the first thing that our body gravitates towards is those baskets of fruit. Probably as I'm even talking about it, you're like, baskets of fresh apples and oranges and watermelon. That sounds yummy. The first thing that doesn't come to your mind, though, is like, oh, look at that cow. Let me go take a bite of that cow. Or look at that pig. Let me go take a bite of that pig. Because fruit is already just perfect as it is. So when we think about the type of foods that we're supposed to eat, it's not even vegetation that's the first one that we want. The first one is fruit. So I do see how we are biologically made up to eat fruit. Now, as the evolution has taken place on the planet, we have found ways to change up the chemistry of the food by cooking it, by processing it, by recreating things and scientifically making things mate with one another that had no business coming together in the first place to create new things, you know. And in that sense, this is why we've seen such a decline in human health. And so many diseases are prevalent because we're moving further and further and further and further away from the source of which we're supposed to eat. As we are living beings, we should be eating living things. When we think about the American standard diet, and we look at a typical plate, it's full of a lot of dead food. And so, if we equated ourselves to our animal brothers and sisters, we would be like vultures, because vultures or from the scavenger species, eat dead food. They eat decaying food. They eat leftover food that was just sitting on the side of the grass or the road or wherever they may be in the desert. Different things like that. They don't gravitate towards fresh living foods. And so when we think about that plate that has a cooked full of cooked meals and on top of that dead animals, we see a plate that has no life in it. And so it makes us reevaluate whether or not we are living beings eating decaying foods, or are we living beings that should be eating living foods, foods that still retain all of its enzymes, its nutrients, its minerals, its amino acids, all of the things. Are they all still intact when we eat it? Because as our body is continuing to regenerate itself, it requires some assistance. Okay, and that assistance comes from nature's gifts, nature's blessings. And one of the things that I really love that Dr. Irie said to us, and it's stuck ever since we left Costa Rica, was that it's not about um, the food in your life. It's about the life in your food. And that was very profound, because it's like we center ourselves around eating. We center ourselves around ways to indulge and entice our pleasure sense. And we think that we can't derive any pleasure from eating foods that are high in nutrition when that's completely wrong. Even just from transitioning from eating animals into becoming vegan, my palate has changed so much. My world has opened up so much. It was just a few things that I would eat before till now, eating so many different varieties of fruit and vegetables that I hadn't had before. And things that used to taste good to me or even smelled good to me before, no longer do I have an affinity towards. My chemistry has changed. And when I am eating raw, I see my mind is more clear. I see that my body feels lighter. My energy starts to increase. I feel myself cleaning itself out. So my chemistry starts to change. My palate even starts to change. If I'm eating a high cooked diet, and then I try to eat like a raw meal, and I hadn't been eating raw meals, like I might have fallen off of eating high raw, it tastes weird. It tastes like earth. And I'm like, why am I having a disdain towards earth? And internally, that makes you feel disconnected from earth, from the source, from love, from divinity. And so, if we are souls on a path of going towards um, the light, going towards sacred connection with all that is, then we can't do things that push us further and further away from that and create detachments within us between us and the source. So I think when we really just evaluate what's going on and what's happening around us, we can really tap into what we are supposed to be doing and how far away we are actually from that.
It's a little bug in here. Try not to eat the bug. This is so good. This is actually some rainwater from last night. It was like the first zodiacal rain of Cancer, right? And we put some moringa in here to kind of purify it even more, even though it's rainwater, right? And some haritaki fruit, which boosts the oxygen. Just been letting it brew out in the sun, so it's powerful. But yeah, just to get back focused, I don't under any circumstances really believe that cooked food is the healthiest option for humans to eat. We've made diet so arbitrary, and like we said, like you're naturally designed to eat fruit, predominantly fruit. Some would say fruit, like that's it, you know. But I think it's very important for people to understand that there are so many different levels to diet and how we're supposed to eat. But I think that it makes it very simple once you understand that we have a species-specific diet. And the fruit is literally here, you know, as spare parts, as solar radiation, as things that'll help us evolve our DNA into that 12-strand DNA, things that'll help our soul ascend. Because fruit will tune you into a certain level of the soul. It'll tune you into a certain level of the mental plane. Just like cooked food or even meat, it'll tune you into a certain level in the astral plane. So this is why when people go to sleep after eating heavy meals, even like let's just say meat heavy meals, for example, they find themselves in dreams, running from things, scared, fearful, and all of this type of stuff because meat corresponds to a specific element within the astral realm or within one of the densifications of the spiritual realms. Um, and like you eat fruit, don't eat nothing a couple hours before you go to sleep, you're going to be in dreams with mermaids, dolphins, new worlds, paradisical lands, opening up the intuition to your soul, opening up your intuition to guides and teachers and nature spirits and things of that nature, all of that stuff. So yes, family, cooked foods is dangerous. But I will say that cooked foods while you're transitioning into these higher levels of veganism, well, I'm not even gonna say that. When you cooked food is okay when you're transitioning to, let's say, raw or high raw, and then raw, and fruitarianism, because you need some type of buffer, some type of slow, gradual transition into this high vibratory diet. People that go from one extreme to the other overnight typically experience a lot of psychological imbalance, a lot of emotional imbalance, and have to actually deal with that while they're at that other end of the extreme, you know. So it does take time to transition into it, but I think it's very important to know that cooked foods, they take away from your health. They take away your enzyme bank in your own body. You have to you produce certain amount of enzymes by yourself. These fruits and these living foods, they have enzymes in them already that allow it to be broken down for you. You know, see, everything in nature is really simple, and everything is here for you. We just have to know how to take part of it. The realization that needs to be had is that we have to really get back into our natural state of mind, because there's a lot of ideas and things that exist within our mind that are artificial, and we've adopted them by way of artificial eating habits. Now, the most natural people that I've ever seen are obviously hippies. They obviously eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, um, you know, because they eat from the nature, so their mind is natural, you know. But we participate in this man-made society and the matrix and whatnot, whatever we want to call it, that's artificial, and it's just not real. And so we have artificial thoughts and thoughts that aren't real, fake thoughts, you know. So it's incredibly important to always remember that we were made for fruit. Fruit was made for us, and that is literally how we will ascend through any type of health complication, any type of degenerate disease, you know. And it's even people that say fruit is bad for you, or too much fruit sugar is bad for you, oranges is bad for you, and things of that nature. But that's not the case. What happens is we eat so much carbohydrates and cook those carbohydrates, and then as soon as you cook a carbohydrate, you get a substance called acrylamide, and that's a carcinogen. You know what I'm saying? And so all these things go into your chemistry, and your body does not like to read these. Your body reads geometry, and it reads geometry well. The geometry that it reads the best is alkaline fruit, obviously, because the sugar is alkaline, right? So you have all of this acrylamide in your system, all of this glycation, all of this excess sugar coating your organs, stopping and impairing the functions of the pancreas, of the liver, of all of these different vital organs. And so when that person comes to eat fruit, they have a negative experience, because fruit is actually revealing your weaknesses to you. It's not the fruit that's messing you up. It's the disease, decayed condition of your body that is already on the process of devolution and decay. And so the fruit, as it's cleaning, it's making more symptoms occur. But these symptoms are actually just the cure in process. Um, so yeah, so it's just so important to know that, yes, I know a lot of people eat fruit, but it be a psychology shift saying, like, all right, if you're going to eat other stuff, you need to know that fruit is your predominant food. Like, it is not, I eat all of this, I eat some veggies and I eat some fruit, so I'm good. No, 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 no. You need to be like 60, 70, 80% fruit for people who aren't privy to this type of information, who aren't in that world. You definitely need to be eating predominantly fruit. And then just in general, shoot, I would say 90%, 10% fruit, really. Um, and then some people say, I don't want to lose weight. Uh, you know, I don't feel like I can get full off fruit. But the thing is you have a natural weight. You have a false weight and a natural weight. Your true weight, your natural weight will show itself after you've been eating fruit and veggies. Raw. It will show itself. Um, and then getting skinny, that's not a health concern. It's really not a health concern, because like we said, your natural diet is fruit already. So if you get skinny, it's only saying that basically, if you don't want to be skinny, it's because you don't want to be viewed a certain way within society. And I get that, because I know I fasted times before, face sunk in, body sunk in, and people, family, come to you and they're like, you need to put some meat on your bones and eat something. But really, it's just not, it's about people's vanity. You don't want to be so small because you don't want to be perceived as that. You don't want to be picked on. You don't want to be misunderstood. But really, it's very important to have that communication with your soul. And the conversation with your soul will have you eating things that's right for you. It doesn't matter what your body looks like on the outside. It matters what your inner world looks like. It matters that your inner world is radiating light. And you're going to get that light from fruit. You're not going to get that from baked potatoes, steaks, and bacon. You are going to feel like a baked potato. You're going to feel like you bacon. You're going to feel like a steak in your whatever, you know. Um, so yeah. What you think? Any last remarks, thoughts?
No, I think we covered a lot. I just think it's important that as everybody is, like what you were saying earlier, transitioning and like having that goal towards eating more fruit, eating more raw foods until that's all you eat, you know. And even the most prominent raw foodists out there have all spoke about their journey to going towards raw, you know, and how they gradually went there. Many times they were overnight vegans or overnight vegetarians, but going to raw took more of a process, you know, and because it's like we are rearranging, restructuring, reactivating our DNA, you know,
Exactly.
which has been used to for so long due to devolution on the planet to eating cooked foods. And so I think that's why the journey is important, you know, and just to keep that in the back of your mind so that even if you're eating cooked foods, you know, in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, okay, I also need to eat living foods. I also need to have something that's going to take care of me, you know, that's going to love on me, that was given to me as a gift from the sun, you know, because fruit is crystallized solar energy. And so when we take a bite, we take a bite and dine, like what Dave always says, with God, with the divine, with sacredness. And so I just think that, you know, as we journey towards that, we're always just keeping that at the front of our mind, not even at the back, because it can get lost back there.
Yeah. And then fruit. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
Okay, I was gonna say fruit and raw foods. A. It'll make you into an extremist, and not like an extremist in a bad way, but within your own inner dynamic. It'll take you to the extreme of what you want it to be, what you want to be in life, of who you really are. It'll take you to the extreme of love and abundance and gratitude and of being appreciative as you move upon this earth. Um, like I said, I haven't seen too many people that's raw or fruitarian that have low vibrations. It's almost not possible because as you're cleansing and getting rid of the old body and the old cells that were proliferated based upon degenerate foods, you're creating new high vibratory cells that resonate to the frequency of 528 hertz. So your body is essentially being bathed in nature's holy stream of sound, and it's attuned to the vibration of the earth. So you're going to be nothing less than a servant or a steward of the earth or a representative of God or whatever we want to call it. So you will become extreme. But this current reality, it's calling for more light bearers. It's calling for more indigo children, calling for more star children. It's calling. It's calling. Can you hear the call? Because I can hear it. I can hear it. I can hear it. And I'm not, that's nothing that you play with. If you hear the call, then you need to jump on it. Because nature comes in like little waves, and you might not hear that call for another 5 years. How nature will go.
5,000.
5,000. But yeah, and then just on top of that, just to end it, fruit is karma free. You know, people talk about taking vegetables from the earth as the counter argument for meat eaters to vegans and stuff like that. But it needs to be known that fruit is essentially karmaless. Fruit is karmaless. The tree produced the fruit as an offering for you. No karma will come about if you eat a fruit. Vegetables, that is, I'm not even gonna say questionable, obviously, because it's a
Can
living.
be up for debate, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that could be up for debate. You know, but as far as animals and the species of animals, as opposed to vegetables, as opposed to fruits, fruits is karma free. But yeah, so that's that, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Um, I really do. But we definitely want to let you guys know that cooked foods are not optimal for where we are headed as light bearers. The call of the soul is going to tell you to eat more fruits, more living foods and things of this nature because you're becoming more alive. That's why we're becoming more conscious because we begin to own ourselves more, you know? Um, So yeah, I don't want to take up too much time because we definitely got some more things to do. But I hope you guys really enjoyed the video, and we love when you guys like and respond and interact with us. So yeah, if you get a chance, if you like the video, please share it. I know it's a little long, but it's all good. But with that said, I love you guys, family. Bliss, bliss, and bliss. I wish everybody perfect love, perfect compassion, and perfect knowledge, perfect understanding.
It looks like peace, y'all. I thought maybe we can.